Here it is, guys, the last IEM Katowice video to get you all hyped up for Katowice. This is going to be, how did I prepare for it? So maybe it's not as hype as other videos that have been released, and I don't even know what order I'm releasing them in, so this could be first. I don't know. But I wanted to go over how I prepared, because I know people are interested in that. I now have a no longer Stone Age way of doing so, although I do love my notebooks. I've decided to swap over onto Notion, which has been a very helpful program. Bought myself a tablet. I'm gonna look real fancy up there, like a real businesswoman, you know. Also discuss some of the things that I found really interesting and helpful to do. Talk a little bit about my path to improving over the last 8 weeks as well. And then perhaps after I get back from Katowice, I'll do kind of more of a, was it helpful, was it not, what was the best thing I learned, that type of thing. But for now, I'm just going to go over how I decided to prepare. So some of you might have seen some previous posts or videos, whatever I've done, that showcases what I write down and how I write them down, maybe some brief glimpses. This time, I've just improved it by making it electronic, and by moving it to an electronic format, I sound like an old person, we have also added some points to it too. So that's been a learning experience. I've also just learned a lot about Notion, which is a great program. It is free. So anyways, we got our kind of just title thing. This is from stock, actually. I had a picture of this. Useful links are as you would expect. I recently discovered that spawning tool is surprisingly useful in that it has matchups based on win rates by time, which I actually was really interested in. Didn't realize they had it. So you can actually see, for instance, if here Maroon wins more or less often against Protoss, at what time. So here, Marine versus Protoss, you can see that he wins majority of his games for the first 4 to 10 minutes. So, more than mid-game, which makes sense just for Terran in general. So that was actually quite helpful. Going back to Notion, though, you just have everything that could be useful. Then you have all the links leading up into these things over here. I know you can't see all of it, but you can see enough of it to kind of figure it out. So you have players. I have listed the players and then able to assign them a race, how they qualified, what part of the tournament they're in. So as they continue to advance on, if Maro makes it into the round of 8, round of 4, then I can go ahead and put that, and then I can find it up here to make it really simple. I'll also find, by race if I wanted to. That's not really probably going to be important, but... And then I have details of them, as well as links to their Ligalak and Wikipedia specifically. Recent performances, Katowice results, and I'm going to put their most recent form down here as well. And that's going to go for everyone. So I'm not sure I'm done with it, actually. No, I'm not done with it, but eventually I'll be done with it. This will also hopefully be something that I can link back to when I go into some of these other things. But moving on. Katowice maps. I do have pictures of the maps when you click on them so you can see it. I've basically memorized what the maps are now, but since they're so new, there was a question mark about it. And I want to do a better job about shouting out their creators too, as well as, of course, always being accurate as to how large they are, rush distance-wise or dimensions-wise. And then I'll eventually put up the matchups, the win rates, as we get closer to Katowice to be more accurate as to which way they are leaning. Groups. You go into Group A, you have a table, which I can then say Clemver's Dark, got their Liglak, got their spawning pool, and we can see that when they face each other, someone wins more often in 10 to 15. You can look at the maps they've played on, all old maps, of course. We even have direct links to the replays, if it has it. More generally, Clem versus Zerg, Dark versus Terran. So not all-encompassing, especially if you haven't played recently, then how useful is it? But still pretty cool. And then I'll also be writing more notes as I figure out kind of the storylines and threads and interesting notes between all these players. That'll go down here. So I did that for all the groups. Katowices are lined up. This is a lot of work initially. I'm sure most of you are like, God, this could have been... Did you really not know this shit? Like, did you not pay attention? Do you need to know this stuff? How long did this actually take? Yeah, it's taken some man-hours for sure. But the thing is, so much of this is going to be useful to me for the future. So next year, I only have to add one more thing here, as opposed to doing a whole entire notebook. So this is how I found patterns in who's won. As far as I can tell, there's no patterns in the score, but maybe I missed something. And then, kind of global finals in general, since that changed over for 2020. That was a weird one. That was a weird year. And links to it, and not too much else to go over here. Storylines, just where I write notes, and then if I think of a storyline or find a storyline through other data collection and studying, I write it down and kind of elaborate further on it. So, you know, I noticed some people have a lot of appearances in the finals. Like Zest is the most appeared Katowice finalist, but a tied global finals finalist appearance with Rogue and Raynor. Yeah, it gets a little funky between these two. And that Raynor is the only player to be at global finals 3 times in a row. Raynor's pretty good. And then linked to anything I need to, and so on and so forth. You know, I found out, for instance, looking at the players, what they were doing, that Solar, there we go. So let's go to Dark, actually. So I found out doing his Katowice results, I looked at how consistent he was for the 3 years, which I put most important for other people. But then was like, wow, he's really consistent. And so I went back to every year before that, too, and found out that he is insanely consistent. Like, of the Katowices he's attended, so, you know, before he... Wait, was he a Brood War player? Okay, before he was good, and without the year that didn't have Koreans, he has only missed the round of 8 once, and he's been in the round of 4 as many times as he's been in the round of 8. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can say, like, statement-wise, he's most consistent, and Solar would be very close to him, except look what happens. He lost to Dark, he lost to Dark, he lost to Dark. He would have been maybe more consistent without this. But anyways, like, that's the type of stuff that you find when you just dig into the numbers, and it's a lot of useless stuff, honestly, until you find a nugget. It is like trying to find gold in a river. So sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, but fortunately, I can tell you that this is my job, and that I'm supposed to do this. And then what I've been working on recently has been detailing all of the thoughts that I've received from players that I've paid for their time, and they've given me information. Lambo was kind of to do it publicly, so I can feel okay about showing some of this stuff, but you can see that he has a lot of opinions about a lot of things, and I just kind of, you know, labeled it so it's easier to read. And then I have the link to this transcript, with which I have auto-transcripted all of these lessons, as well as to the video, in case you wanted to go over it yourself. And then I asked Crank to please gather some of the Korean players' thoughts, because I just don't have their perspective at all. We eventually get their perspective when we start interviewing them, but only after they've won, only into the tournament. So this was actually really helpful. It's short, it's sweet, but they went over everything I wanted to hear, and I got this kind of impression from every single one of them about how they're feeling about everything. Patch, maps, their play, that type of thing. And then last, I did have a road to Katowice, which includes like a health thing, as well as my adding more StarCraft 2 ladders. I took singing lessons, actually, and I found those extremely helpful, but I'll detail that into another video. I got the players' lessons lined up. I couldn't do it 3 players a week because the patch was released so late, but I fit 7 players into about 2 weeks, so that was okay. I finished that, and I did start reading some books. Most of these are actually not very helpful, to be completely real with you, but I figured it'd be good to read. And I did get an improv lesson, which I thought was extremely helpful. And again, I'll go into that more in a future video. But this is everything that I did. This is everything that I am doing. I'll be continuing, to fill that out as I travel, being an official businesswoman on the airplane and at the lounge and in the hotel, you know, all the good stuff. And then finding more interesting things to talk about as me and my fellow co-commentators join up at Katowice, because we just, you know, grab some drinks at the bar and then we just talk about StarCraft. We really are that nerdy. So it should be a lot of fun. I just want to give you guys a glimpse into how I've set things up. I know that that Notion actually has a lot of other things I could be doing, and if I knew just even basic programming, I could do a lot more, a lot easier, but I don't. So it's been mostly manual. It's been a basic, you know, introduction, beginners way of using Notion. It's much more powerful, but I'm quite proud of the way that it's set up, and hopefully this makes doing the same thing for future tournaments a little bit easier too. I will miss my notebooks, but on to the future, right? It's 2023. Hope you guys enjoyed the brief little tiny video. If you have any more questions, then please let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them. Or if you have any suggestions about how to use Notion, or what else, you know, I should be focusing on, I should be making sure to dig into, then absolutely let me know in a kind way, and I'll look into it. But that's it. Bye, guys. Please watch Katowice and say hi in chat if you're nice. Okay, bye.